For round 1 of the arm, we are going to start off with a slip knot. We will then chain 4. It's 1, 2, 3 and 4. We're going to make an increase in the second chain from the hook. It's 1 and 2 single crochets in the same spot. The next chain gets a single crochet. The last chain gets 4 single crochet increase, so 4 single crochets in the same spot. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then just 1 single crochet in the next spot and an increase in our last spot, which also the first spot we worked into. That brings us to the end of round 1 of the arm. For round 2, we're going to make an increase in our first stitch. And we are going to follow this increase with 4 single crochets, and we're then going to repeat that one more time. So it's an increase followed by 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then we repeat that by making an increase. And 1, 2, 3 and 4 single crochet, which bring us to the end of round 2. For round 3, we're going to make 12 single crochets. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. For round 4, we are going to repeat the same thing we did in round 3 by making 12 single crochets. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, which brings us to the end of round 4. Now, sometimes when you work over the string that you start with, you end up with a little bit of fluff like that sticking out. When that happens, you can just take your scissors and snip the fluff off to give you your nice even result back. For round 5, we start with 2 single crochets. It's 1, 2, then we make 2 decreases. That's decrease number 1 and decrease number 2, and then we make 6 single crochets. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which brings us to the end of round 5. For round 6, 7 and 8, we're going to do the same thing by making 10 single crochets around. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, which brings us to the end of round 6. For round 7 and 8 we're going to repeat that and just make 10 single crochets around, so I'll show you that on fast forward. Before we finish off, we need to stuff our arm. So we're just going to take a little bit of stuffing and push it down into the hand part of the arm. Now, when we're stuffing the arm, you really do only want to stuff the hand section. You want to leave this part empty where the arm itself goes. This will just help with your shape at the end once you attach the arm to the body. So you want to stuff your hand part nice and firm. And leave your arm section empty. For round 9 we're going to make 5 decreases. So stitch 1 and 2 gets the first decrease, stitch 3 and 4 gets the second decrease, stitch 5 and 6 gets the third decrease, stitch 7 and 8 gets the fourth decrease, and then stitch 9 and 10 will get our fifth and final decrease for the arm. We're then going to finish off with a slip stitch onto the next stitch. Since we're making movable limbs, we don't need a long tail to sew with. We're just going to leave a short tail that we'll be able to work away. And that brings us to the end of round 9. All we need to do now is put our tail on our tapestry needle. We're going to weave it in and out around this opening that we've got, just to make sure that the opening is properly closed off. Pull tight and stick our needle in the top, coming out at a random stitch. Tight a little, and we're just going to snip this yarn tail off, and that gives us our arm with our nicely stuffed hand section. You can see that's the hand, there's the arm. You're going to need 2 of these for the koala, so go back to the beginning of the video, create a second arm, and when you get back here and you have both arms, we'll show you how to pin them onto the body and create your movable limbs. Next we're going to be pinning the arms to the body. Now, as you've noticed, you've got the hand area and it makes a bit of a curve. You want this curve to fit neatly next to the body, so you don't want to attach it that way. You want to make sure that it attaches this way. We put it next to the body, turn to the side, and you want your arm to actually touch the head section there by the neck, and you want it to line up with your ear that you have already sewn into place. Once you're happy with your positioning, you take pin 1 and pin 2 to just keep it into place like that. We're then going to repeat this on the other side by putting our arm there. Check from the front that we've got it nicely centered. Check from the side that we're actually touching the head. We're lining up nicely with the ear. And then we pin it into place with pin 1 and pin 2. Now, it's very important with limbs that you match your positioning, so once you've pinned them into place, just check it from the front, make sure that your nose is nicely centered, check it from either side to make sure that it lines up with your ears, check it from the back to make sure nothing's looking weird. You can even look from the bottom if that helps you to center the nose nicely with the arm. Now, for me, this arm on the left is a little bit too far back, so I'm just going to move it a little bit forward, because you'll see if you look from the bottom, you see the nose is closer to this arm than it is to this arm. That tells me that I'm slightly off in my positioning. So I'm just going to take my pins out, move my arm slightly to the right, not a lot, just a touch, and pop my pins back in again. Let's see now. There we go. Now you can see it's nice and neatly centered between the two arms, so we've got them in the right positioning. If you've got the positioning wrong, really don't be afraid of moving it to the correct position. It's now time to actually attach the arms to the body. We're going to be using our giant upholstery needle. On it we've got a length of fishing line. You can't really see it because it's see-through, but there is a bit of fishing line attached there. Now, what we're going to do is we start by flipping our koala over, and we're going to enter in a spot in the middle of the back. We're going to turn our needle and push it to our left-hand side so that it comes out through our arm that's currently on our left-hand side, like that. We push the needle through. When you pull your needle through, you want to leave a tail of fishing line hanging out the back here. It's very important that you keep your tail. Do not lose it or let it pull all the way through. We're then going to go in through the same opening that we just came out of, and we're going to push our needle straight through the body all the way to the other side and out the other arm, so that our needle goes all the way across. As you pull, make sure you keep your end out, and your fishing line should disappear into the arm. We're going to repeat this stitch, going in the same opening that we came out of, pushing our needle straight through the body, coming out the other side. And one more time, go in, pushing all the way through the body, and out the other side. All the while making sure you don't lose your tail to the back. Now that we've had enough repetitions, we're going to go in the same opening by the arm, but instead of pushing straight through, we are going to angle our needle and come out through the same opening that we originally entered through on the back of the koala. And when you pull through, just make sure that you don't get your fishing line caught on an ear or an arm or a pin somewhere. Now, what we want to do at this point is we're going to be knotting these two ends together. So on the first time, you want to pull really tight, because this is what's going to keep your arms in place. Now, I like to take the needles out at this point so that I can see if my arms are actually staying with the level of tightness that I want. Sometimes the needle on the inside can catch your fishing line and it can keep you from pulling it as tight as you need to be pulling it. Once you're happy with the level of tight, you just knot it a few times to make sure that it doesn't come loose. There we go. And then snip it off short, just like we've been doing with all of our ends up until this point. And same as with every other end, you are going to push that knot into the body to make sure that it doesn't stick out. You should not be able to feel it when you run your thumb across like that. And your arms should now be able to move easily and stay in place once you have moved them. So this is where you should be for Kylie the Koala at this point.